It's, not the best. Okay, that piece is a little better. Not out of this world quality by any means. I'm not seeing any full-on like holes or super loose threads like she was. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. And it's safe to say it's not just isolated incidents, because the Kylie Swim comment section on Instagram went from please restock to not so positive.
Kylie Jenner's clothing brand, KHY, is still going. But has it actually improved? It's been almost a year since we last talked about it, and trust me, it's not because they slowed down. The brand has been steadily dropping new releases almost every month. But the big question is, has anything actually changed? The last time we checked in on KHY, things were looking rough. The brand was being dragged for poor quality, accused of stealing designs from smaller businesses, and overwhelming customers with back-to-back launches. And now, we're diving back in to see if Kylie has cleaned up the mess, or if it's only gotten worse. It's been over a year since Kylie first launched KHY, and to be honest, the brand still hasn't found its footing. The criticism hasn't stopped. People are still calling it out for everything from cheap materials to excessive drops to straight-up copying other brands. And let's not forget one of the biggest accusations, that KHY is just a rebranded version of Skims. A lot of people feel like Kylie completely lost the original vision of making high-fashion designs more affordable and instead shifted to pumping out as many collections as possible just to cash in while she still can. Because, let's be real, people are already questioning whether KHY has a future at all. With the amount of releases Kylie Jenner is pushing out with KHY, you'd think at least one product would have become a staple by now. But the reality? Nothing stands out. When you think of Skims, you can probably name at least 2 best-selling products off the top of your head. Even if you're not a fan of Kim Kardashian, you can't deny that she's made an impact with certain items. But with KHY? The only pieces people ever talk about are the ones that spark controversy. That's a huge red flag. The only time people review KHY products is when they're either sent PR packages or influencers are trying to get clicks by exposing the brand. There's no organic hype, no standout pieces, nothing memorable. And one of the biggest disappointments?
It's, not the best. Okay, that piece is a little better. Not out of this world quality by any means. I'm not seeing any full-on like holes or super loose threads like she was. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. And it's safe to say it's not just isolated incidents, because the Kylie Swim comment section on Instagram went from please restock to not so positive.
Kylie's attempt at swimwear. In July, Kylie announced that KHY would be releasing a swimwear collection. And this was a make-or-break moment for her. Why? Because in 2021, she launched Kylie Swim. And it was a complete disaster. People hated Kylie Swim. The pieces were overpriced, completely see-through, and had zero support. It became one of the biggest failures in Kardashian business history. The quality was so bad that Kylie quietly let the brand disappear. So this new KHY swimwear drop was supposed to be her redemption. But right away, it was off to a bad start. The first mistake? Timing. She dropped the swimwear collection in July, when most brands were already switching to back-to-school and fall fashion. People were confused. Why launch swimwear when summer was basically over? And that was just the beginning of the problems. The timing of KHY's swimwear launch was just plain bad. Most brands drop their swim collections in March or April, right in time for spring break and the start of summer. But Kylie? She waited until July, when people were already shifting into back-to-school and fall fashion mode.
The fact that we just have like the lining on the inside, no cups, no built-in bra, and it just feels like everything is dragging down. It's just like completely squished me down. I put in some cups in here just for something, but I'm not feeling lifted. I'm not feeling flattered out here.
It just didn't make sense. And then there was the pricing. A bikini top? $60. Bikini bottoms? Another $60. A simple slip-over dress? $145. For a brand that was originally marketed as an affordable way to get designer-inspired pieces, these prices felt way too steep. Now, if the quality was truly high-end, maybe people could justify the cost. But the reviews? They weren't exactly screaming luxury. However, the biggest criticism came from one particular item, the swim corset. Yes, a corset. For swimming. It was definitely aesthetic, something you'd maybe wear to a pool party for the look. But actual swimming? People were confused, and rightfully so. The backlash was immediate. One person wrote, "Swimming with a corset on is not safe. It restricts your movement and lung capacity." Another commented, "The point of swimming is to breathe. The point of a corset is to restrict breathing. Make it make sense." And the most common reaction? Who the hell is swimming in a corset?
I don't know what's going on with this one. First of all, this was so difficult to get on. I pinched my skin multiple times. Now that I'm looking at it, I thought it looked good, but it's doing something so weird at the hip area here. It's just a very long corset top. It's just like, I don't understand. Also, this top is unlined. It's one single layer of fabric, which is just how Kylie swim was, so we haven't completely escaped that. The boning areas kind of like stick out at the bottom a little bit, so it's just not super comfortable. I feel like it goes down pretty far in the back, and I'm 5'9" with a long torso, so this is gonna be going like onto your butt if you have a shorter torso than me, which is like most people. Honestly, the top has more coverage than like any of the other tops today, so that's a win. And this is the mini swim skirt. It's literally just like a tube. There's no bottoms under this. You have to wear your own bottoms. And I like that it's made of a swim material, so you could go swimming in this and it just like a little extra layer for coverage, but I just don't know how well it's going to stay up. So it just doesn't look like I'm about to swim.
People were also dragging the overall collection, saying that with Kylie's resources and budget, the collection should have been way more creative and well thought out. But the swimwear disaster wasn't the only failed KHY launch. Her holiday collection also got major backlash. Kylie released a bunch of sparkly dresses, tops, and shorts, and the internet immediately pointed out how basic and uninspired the collection looked. One of the most common complaints? It looked like something straight off the racks at Forever 21. The feedback on KHY's holiday collection was brutal. One person summed it up with Forever 21 energy, while another didn't hold back, saying, "This collection is literally so atrocious. I'm so disappointed." The criticism didn't stop there. When Kylie previewed a pair of sparkly shorts from the collection, people were quick to call them out for being completely impractical. One comment stood out. "The shorts will be a thong for 90% of us."
All these sequin dresses, tops, and shorts, and one of the top most reoccurring comments was saying that it looked like something from Forever 21. One person wrote,
"This has been a recurring issue with KHY's designs. Many people feel like Kylie is only designing for herself. Clothes that look good on her body type, but don't actually work for the average customer. There's little thought put into wearability, practicality, or versatility." Another controversial launch was her faux fur coats in January. At first, people were excited about this drop. Kylie received praise for using faux fur instead of real fur, and many fashion lovers appreciated the overall look and luxury vibe of the coats. But once customers actually received their orders, the excitement turned into disappointment. The biggest complaint? The coat was just too much. While some people expected oversized luxury, what they got instead felt cheap and overwhelming. One person bluntly commented, "It looks cheap." Another wrote, "Returning mine. It looks like an oversized bathrobe." And then there was a major issue that many customers couldn't ignore. The coat felt more like a giant rug than an actual piece of clothing.
We'll return this Faux fur long coat. It's so glam, but I can't tell if it's like overpowering and like very attack you know? I love it open. This collar doesn't stay down, but that's okay maybe. And then here's it tied up, which is so cozy. But is it like mauve-like or like a little...
This led to questions about whether Kylie had made it clear on her website just how oversized the coats were. Many buyers felt misled, expecting something sleek and stylish, but instead receiving a bulky, shapeless garment. For a brand that was supposed to deliver high-end fashion at a reasonable price, KHY's track record is looking worse with each release. Some people tried to justify the sizing issue by saying that the original creator reviewing the coat was only 5 feet tall, which made it look extra oversized. But then another reviewer, who was 5 feet 8 inches tall, also tried it on and said the coat was extremely heavy and overwhelming. For a coat priced at $250, people expected better quality and a more wearable design. Instead, many buyers felt like it was something they could find at Forever 21 for a fraction of the price. At this point, it's safe to say that KHY hasn't improved much since we last talked about it. The brand is still struggling with the same issues: questionable quality, impractical designs, and an overall lack of direction.
So I thought it would be cute to get the new Kai coat drop. Who is this supposed to fit? This is an extra small. Kylie, come on. Not all of us are 10 feet tall. Like, this is actually ridiculous.
The general consensus? KHY doesn't feel like a serious business. It feels like a side project that Kylie is just experimenting with. One Reddit user even asked whether KHY was actually doing well, and the top voted response summed it up perfectly. Honestly, it's giving hobby. And honestly, that might just explain everything. At this point, KHY feels less like a fashion brand and more like a side project Kylie Jenner occasionally checks in on.
For a jacket and wanting to show it to you guys. Visually, it doesn't look that bad aside from the fact that it's so big. I got a size large XL. But you can see the fur definitely looks a little dyed, which makes sense. I mean, it is polyester or whatever, but the main thing is it literally feels like a 10-pound jacket. Like, when I wear it for over a minute, it starts to feel heavy on me. And I literally feel like I can't breathe and it's claustrophobic. So this will be going back, but let me know what you guys think and if anyone got it. But honestly, unimpressed. I'm probably not gonna order from them.
The brand has been around for over a year now, but it still lacks a clear identity, signature pieces, or even a real fan base. Most of the conversations around KHY aren't about trendy must-have items. They're about controversies, complaints, and comparisons to other brands. One of the biggest problems? KHY doesn't seem to have a standout product. When you think of brands like Skims, Aritzia, or even Zara, you can immediately name their best-selling items, the things that keep customers coming back. With KHY, there's nothing memorable. The only time people really talk about it is when another problematic launch happens. And let's not forget the pricing issue. From $60 bikini tops to $250 coats that feel like oversized rugs, the brand doesn't seem to understand its target audience. People expected affordable luxury, but what they're getting instead feels cheaply made, yet oddly expensive. This all goes back to one major question. Is Kylie even serious about this brand? Because right now, it looks like she's just throwing out collections with no real vision. It's one thing to be a celebrity-backed brand, but without quality, consistency, and customer trust, no amount of star power can keep a failing fashion line afloat. So unless Kylie starts listening to customer feedback, fixing the quality issues, and creating pieces people actually want to wear, KHY might not last much longer. Right now, it's running on hype alone, and that won't last forever. At this point, KHY is struggling to stay relevant, and the biggest issue is a lack of authenticity. Kylie Jenner has built an empire off of her name, but having a name isn't enough to make a fashion brand successful. If anything, it raises expectations. People assume that if Kylie is behind a brand, it should have top-tier marketing, quality, and style. Instead, KHY feels rushed, uninspired, and disconnected from real fashion trends. One of the biggest signs that a brand is struggling? Lack of customer loyalty. With successful brands, people keep coming back because they trust the quality and love the designs. But when it comes to KHY, no one seems excited for the next drop. There's no sense of community, no must-have pieces, and no real engagement beyond people calling out its flaws. Another major issue is how out of touch the brand feels. When Kylie first launched KHY, she talked about making affordable, designer-inspired fashion accessible to everyone. But the reality? It's overpriced and underwhelming. The pieces don't feel innovative, the materials feel cheap, and the price tags don't match the quality. At this rate, KHY is looking like another celebrity cash grab. If Kylie wants this brand to survive long-term, she needs to change direction fast. That means listening to feedback, improving quality, and actually creating timeless, wearable pieces. Because right now, KHY isn't standing out in the fashion world. It's blending into the pile of forgettable influencer brands that come and go. And if nothing changes, this brand might not last much longer. KHY is at a crossroads. Right now, it's running on Kylie Jenner's name alone. But even that might not be enough to keep it afloat. The fashion industry is brutal, and without a clear identity, strong branding, and loyal customers, a brand can disappear as quickly as it launched. And let's be real, we've seen this happen before. Plenty of celebrity brands start out with huge hype, but if the quality doesn't match the price, people stop buying. KHY's biggest mistake so far has been focusing on constant drops instead of building a strong foundation. When you release new collections every month without perfecting the basics, you create a fast fashion brand with luxury prices. And that's exactly what's happening here. People don't buy from a brand just because a celebrity owns it. They buy because they love the products. And right now, KHY doesn't have a single item that people are obsessed with. There's no viral must-have, no signature look, nothing that makes it different from brands that already dominate the market. The reality is, the Kardashian-Jenner name doesn't guarantee success anymore. People are more critical of celebrity brands than ever before. If KHY wants to survive, Kylie needs to pull back, regroup, and rethink her approach. That means slowing down the releases, focusing on quality, and actually making products that people will love and wear. Because if things continue the way they are now, KHY won't be a fashion empire. It'll just be another celebrity brand that came and went. At this point, KHY doesn't even feel like a real business. It feels like an excuse for Kylie to do photo shoots and have a side project to fill her free time. And honestly, that perfectly sums up the brand. When Kylie Cosmetics first launched, you could tell she was genuinely passionate about it. She was involved, excited, and actually cared about the products. That passion paid off. Her brand became one of the biggest celebrity beauty lines of all time. But KHY? It doesn't have that same energy. It feels like she saw how successful Skims was and decided to copy the formula without putting in the effort. She wanted the money, the hype, and the fashion empire, but she's done the absolute bare minimum to make it happen. And honestly, it shows. With the cheap-looking designs, lack of originality, and overpriced fast fashion, it's hard to see this brand lasting in the long run. People aren't excited about KHY, they're not raving about the quality, and they're not coming back for more. So now, I want to hear from you guys. Have you bought from KHY? Do you actually like it, or do you think it's just another short-lived celebrity brand? Will KHY survive, or is it already on its way out? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.